You're listening to the Roosters Mania TV podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Roosters Mania TV, episode 3. How are we, guys?
Good, mate. How are you?
What's happening?
Yeah, pretty good. Vegas, footy's back, baby.
So
What's
good.
that?
So
What's
good.
Mate. Let's get into it. We got the Super League game first in Vegas, Wigan Warriors versus Warrington Wolves. They were 48 Wigan against 24. What do you think about the game? Was there a standout player for you guys?
Mate, all I can say, I think there was no one missed that conversion the whole game.
I think they were perfect, both sides.
I miss Adam Kieran at the Roosters.
Oh, Adam Kieran, he was
Mate,
a fan favourite.
His kicking yesterday, his goal kicking was spot on.
And he's nailing from the sideline as well. Like, it wasn't like they were all in front. Like, he had multiple on the sideline. He just slots them.
He made it look easy as.
And he's a very experienced player, so...
He's only 27 as well. So he's kind of like, he's in that prime of his life now. So, I'd be surprised if someone doesn't pick him up and bring him back after that performance on such a big stage.
Yeah. Who stood out for you, Jordan?
Look, Kieran was probably my guy that I reckon stood out. The way he plays, he's a above average centre, plays really well, but his goal kicking and the way he adds that, and, it's reliability, right? He's just such a reliable player. He does everything you need him to do. He works his ringer off. And when you got guys like that, that's what you want in a footy team, right? Especially in that sort of position.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Bevan French, he had a cracker game as well.
As always.
He'll be pushing for a Man of Steel award again, surely.
Yeah, maybe even coming back to the NRL, who knows? But
surely it would have been already picked up by now, do you think?
I don't know. It's been weird. Like, he won the Man of Steel, I think it was 2 years ago. But then you look at, you look at yesterday's game, you look at the amount of ex-NRL talent. Like, Paul Vaughan, obviously, he's done. Like, he won't come back to the NRL. That's a twilight. But Bevan French has been killing it. Matt Duffy's been killing it.
He looked good.
Adam Kieran's been killing it. Like, there's a lot of guys, ex-NRL guys over there killing it at the moment. But I don't know, are teams maybe scared to take a chance on the older guy? Like, obviously, Lewis Dodd's come over this year. But are they scared to take a chance on those older guys?
Probably got to look at the thing about these leagues, right? So Super League and NRL, it's a different kettle of fish we're talking here. You're talking about NRL at its best, fast pace. The athletes are probably way better. And that's no disrespect to the players that play in the Super League. But you can tell how the pace is. It's all about the pace.
Different level of game, yeah.
So basically, I think Bevan French is still worthy of going back to the NRL. I think he's got unfinished business, but we'll wait and see.
What do you think about Raiders Warriors to kick off the NRL season? It was
I got some interesting thoughts out of that game. And my first one, and Canberra fans are going to hate it, but how does Xavier Savage not go to the bin? I'm gonna start at that point. Look, I could say so much about, the Warriors backline just didn't do the job. There was a lot of brutality in the start. But when I think back to that game, the first thing that I think of is, especially after last year and the crackdown that happened, how does Savage not go to the bin? Like, look, I get he didn't try and genuinely go after his leg, but at the end of the day, he made solid contact with Harris Tavita's leg. And they've already said he's getting a 1-game suspension or 1-week suspension for it. How does he not go to the bin in that situation?
Yeah, but you know what happened after that? They got the ball back after the intercept when the Warriors made the error, and then he scored that lengthy try.
Yeah.
That could have changed the complexion of the game if he got sin binned.
100%. Metcalf tried to throw a cutout. Savage went, thank you. Next, went 100 metres. I'm confused as to why he was still on the field, and people will probably come at me for that.
You look back at last year when there was very minimal contact, and it was Daniel Atkinson when he was playing for the Sharks against Melbourne, and he kicked the ball into his foot into Harry Grant, and he dived.
That's right.
And he made a mill out of it, and Harry Grant went to the bin.
Yeah.
See the inconsistency with the match officials?
Yeah.
You just can't get the balance right, unfortunately.
I think maybe Vegas are like, we'll keep him on the field 13 on 13, but for me, I think Warriors, they were a bit of a letdown. They were playing real sideways footy, and I think even the forward pack got dominated. Like Fisher Harris, it looked like it was all in his shoulders, and for this season, it could be like that.
Yeah.
I think they're going to struggle, and for the Raiders, I think with Ricky, he said post match, he's like, we're not coming last, and I think Raiders will be pushing for the 8 as they do.
We were talking about this.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before, Luke, and you were talking about like Barnett and Fisher Harris. They're now captains and they're leading the team. Like, did it look like there was too much on their shoulders, or was it just Canberra were that good and dominated them?
I think Canberra, like Preston said, they're going to be the underdogs this year.
Okay.
I reckon. And Ricky said yesterday in that post-match conference.
Yeah.
He's giving it to all the journalists out there. And
as
everything.
he does.
But good on him. Honestly, good on him, man. Because they've been copying it heaps. Wooden spoon. And under Ricky, man, I reckon he's one of the best coaches in the game to this day.
I think Ricky's, you know what it is about his players? He demands to have that resilience. He expects his players to go out there. It doesn't matter who wears the jerseys for the Canberra Raiders. He expects them to go out there and give it their all and just show a bit of ticker and have that dog in them.
That's right.
That's why the Raiders will not be dead last, where people are tipping them. I don't think any of us tipped the Raiders for wooden spoon.
No.
So I think we got one up on all those other idiots. That
I think as well, though, like, and because Ricky, you know, it's been a lot made about, you know, he's playing number 98 for the Raiders. Like, that's why he can demand that out of his players. He was there. He was there for the glory days of the 90s. He wants to bring Canberra back to that level.
It's a big job ahead of him, that's for sure.
Yeah, but he's got the players to do it.
You
I
want to
think.
comp in the red, white, and blue in 02, so...
Yeah, well, you know, we're
All right,
all
well,
class.
and then we had the Jillaroos match against England, which was an eye-opener. I caught a bit of it. And when I saw they were in the 90s, my jaw dropped. Do we think it was a smart move that they had the game? Should they have versed maybe New Zealand instead to make it a bit of a closer match? Because I think, and a lot of people, I think people left. They saw the blowout of the score and thought, no, I'm going home.
Look, I watched that game in its entirety. I watched all 70 minutes of it. I think something that people need to be very mindful of, that was Australia's third biggest win in their history of like women's rugby league.
It was 96-4.
The biggest previously was 90-0 and then 88-0 and now 90-4.
Yeah.
But you also got to remember we missed like 6 kicks, so we could have been well over 100.
Could have got the ton.
I genuinely think no matter who we played on that day, we were going to win like that. I just think our women's team is that impressive at the moment.
Oh.
We've won 3 World Cups in a row. Like, I'm gonna probably get banned for saying this, so apologies to the internet. There was a lot made about the Matildas and Matildas coming 4th in the World Cup, and like that's a great achievement, don't get me wrong. But I've never seen the Matildas dominate the competition the way our Jillaroos have. That squad is incredible.
Yeah, I think you have Jillaroos here, and then all the other international women's squads like here.
Yeah.
That's the difference right there.
I kind of disagree with your comments about that Australia would have probably walked past everyone. I think New Zealand would have been the team that to give them a bit more a competition. Just my views, but like I said, you know what? It left a bit of a sour taste in everyone's mouth because I know, yes, it was a lot of points, but I think when everyone knew what was coming and how the score was reflecting on the field, you just saw it was just becoming a dour game. It was one-sided, and that's it.
Look, credit to England, though. They didn't give up. They at least got a try in the last 20 seconds. So
right at the end.
what is it? Last try scores, moral victory?
All right, and then Penrith vs Sharks, obviously, that was probably the main event, cracking game. I personally thought from the Penrith Sharks to Raiders Warriors, it was just faster. It upped the ante. And I think even like Cleary, he didn't do much, but he just picked his moments. That's what I thought. He did that kick to, was it Targo?
Targo.
Yeah, and I just thought, it's...
On a string.
Yeah, and then you can tell he's just so mentally just focused in on the game. Kicked it from the sideline. Some fan threw a cup at him. Just picked it up.
He moves it away and then just slots it from the sideline.
Doesn't face him.
Ice man.
Yeah.
Who was your standout for Cronulla?
Oh, man, I was going for Penrith pretty much the whole game. But Cronulla, I reckon Trindle played all right. He was all right. Nico Hines, he was on and off.
Can I give a rap, actually? And I actually kind of criticised him last week. Will Kennedy had a blinder. He actually made important plays. And I know he's not that type of player like your Tedesco's, your Turbos and your Pongers, but you could see the effort areas in that big game, and he kind of owned it.
Him and Trindle.
He tried. Yeah. He tried his guts out. And
it was the one moment when, Will Kennedy... I think Cleary went for the 40-20. He just jumped out, tapped it back in.
We won't mention that his foot was on the line.
Yeah, his foot was on the line, but the effort he put in was...
it's all about the
incredible.
Effort.
Incredible.
He tried.
How do you boys think Fanua Blake went? His first game for the Sharks?
I thought he was one of their best.
I think he was excellent.
He scored a try.
He picked up where he's left off from the New Zealand Warriors. And you can see the Warriors, it's a big loss for the Warriors.
You know one thing I love, though, about Fanua Blake? It was in his post-match conference. He took accountability straight away. He's like, I let in a soft try, that try to Isaiah Yeo. He straight up went, I let that in. That was on me. I need to be better. And that shows you the culture that Fitzy has around defense. Because, to be honest, I think Cronulla were the better team. People are going to hate me, Penrith fans. Go, it's because you hate Penrith.
I tipped Cronulla.
I genuinely think Cronulla, and I was the same, I tipped Cronulla. over 80 minutes, I think Cronulla were the better team. Penrith just took their opportunities that
At the
step
right
better,
moments, yeah.
and that was the big difference. And I mean, that game wasn't without its own controversies anyway. If we really want to get into it, like Cameron McInnes gets the ball, I think stripped. I know I'm no NRL ref, but I think it was stripped. You know, you can actually hear. I was watching it back today just to make sure I wasn't going crazy, but you can hear Klein yelling, "Surrender, surrender, surrender." Eisenhuth's got his hands all over the balls. Next minute it pops out. Like, it didn't look like McInnes tried to offload it. It was stripped, and then McInnes got told he couldn't challenge it. Like, what the heck's going on there?
That's ridiculous. If the captain has come up, which was Cameron McInnes, he goes, I want to challenge it. It should be, that's it. See you later. The referee should just say, no, all right, done. Not reject the bloke.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
Well, this is the thing, right? Obviously, the NRL hasn't done their usual Monday press conference. I'm presuming Graham Ainsley will wait till next week to do that after completion of round one. But from the post-game conference or the media that Fitzy and Cameron McInnes done, they both, like, McInnes is like, I want clarity from the NRL because I was told I couldn't challenge it. It's like, he goes, it's a stopping play because they had to do the scrum. I've gone up to challenge. I'm being told not to challenge.
Was this at the press conference?
This was in the post-game press conference. He said that. And Fitzy's like, yeah, well, like, we need to understand that because if that's a play we can't challenge, we need to know why we can't challenge it.
Yeah. So do you think now, like Cronulla as a whole, with their squad looking into finals this year potentially, you reckon they're going to push prelims, grand final potentially? Because they gave it to Penrith, but it was just Penrith picked their moments, like you said.
I don't know grand final. I think prelim definitely. I think repeat of last year getting to the prelim. I do think that Penrith will be challenged by them a bit more this year than they probably were in the prelim last year. There was actually comments made by a former Queensland State of Origin player, Billy Slater, who was going, you can't buy one player and fix it. But if Cronulla play the way they played yesterday and fix up those little areas that they made errors in, they could genuinely, or the soft try that Fanua Blake took credit for and went, yeah, that's on me. They're genuine contenders, and that's why I picked them in my 4 because I think they will still be around there, but I think Fanua Blake will lead that pack.
And he's a leader, and he's experienced as well. So, Ronaldo Munitalo, by the way, what was he thinking getting into a scuffle with Liam Martin? And Liam Martin was just laughing at him, and then he conceded the penalty, and then they basically conceded the try.
Yeah, Liam Martin, he was best on field for me. I thought every time he had that ball, it's just like, stop what you're doing and just watch Martin. He's a proper dog, honestly.
Yeah. He's just that player.
And I think, he went over. Honestly, if Will Kennedy wasn't there to tackle him, which he looked at his arm, he could have broke it.
Yeah.
He could have scored. And then even in defense for Martin,
he's huge.
Can I give another rap to someone that probably doesn't get, the recognitions like the Liam Martins, the Isaiahs? Lindsay Smith.
He was huge.
170 metres, 14 runs, 34 tackles, 73 points in Supercoach. So anyone that has Lindsay Smith, you're a genius. I'm
going to change something you said there because I hate Supercoach because Supercoach robbed him off because NRL.com had him at 47 tackles. So be better, Supercoach. We want those extra points for Lindsay.
I think it must be third man in. That's why Supercoach don't count them. But yeah.
But Luke, we were talking about something. That's one last thing, and I know I'm going to sound like the controversy corner. A minute 20 left in the game, Paul Alamotti knocks on and the play on. What the heck? I know Ashley Klein is a good friend of yours. You love him.
It's Ashley Klein. But
all these problems. But how do you miss that? And look, you'll see the video. It'll go up. Presto, our amazing editor, because he's a beast, will put it up there. But I don't get how even if he passed it, it blatantly went forward.
It did. Yeah, I don't know how they didn't.
It's either a forward pass or a knock on. How do you miss that?
Everyone's asking these questions. I've been asking for 3 years. It's Ashley Klein, mate.
Mate, I've been asking since he came into the NRL.
Controversial referee out there. I just don't understand how Adam G doesn't get a mention or doesn't get.
Don't start me on Adam G. I'm still pissed he didn't get into the finals last year.
He's one of the best referees.
He is.
Honestly, he is.
All right, well, we'll move on now. Let's touch on player movements. Obviously, Mitchell Moses has signed a 3-year contract for the Eels.
Yeah, to the end of 29.
29.
Yeah, so that obviously puts all those rumours down that he was going to obviously leave the club. Obviously, his halves partner, Dylan Brown, he's on the market. What do you think he's going to end up, guys?
What are you hearing? What are you hearing, Luke?
I've heard from a reliable source, boys. There's rumours going around that he's going to the Knights. He's going up to Newcastle.
He's going to go up to the high.
So what's it work out? Because Newcastle offered him something like 13 mil, 10 years. Was that right?
Yeah, I think
about
13
right.
or so. Yeah.
He's sitting on 1.3 mil a year. I think the Eels have him on.
I heard 1.1.
800.
I heard 1.1.
Oh, at Para.
Yeah. No, the rumour about him going to Newcastle.
Well, I mean, if it's 13 for 10, it'll be 1.3 a year.
Yeah.
But I mean, even 1.1, that'd be what, 400k more than he's on at the moment?
Well, his current deal is 850.
800. Okay,
Well, let's say
say 350 sort of thing.
let's say in hindsight, if he does sign with Newcastle, a 10-year contract, do you think 10-year contracts working in the NRL? Look at Tamalolo up at the Cowboys. Do you think players might get too comfortable thinking, I've got the money now?
Look, sorry, you go Theo.
Sorry, man. To me, I think a 10-year deal is like a retirement package for a player, but it can cause catastrophic damage to an NRL club because it absolutely messes the salary cap for them.
And look, honestly, I think for the output that the Cowboys got out of Tamalolo and say the first 5 years of that deal, 6 years of that deal, they got a good deal for him, right?
They leave the money.
Dylan Brown's what, 27?
Yeah, I think a bit younger.
No, he's younger.
Oh, is he?
23.
Okay.
23.
Is he? I thought he was like 25,
No,
26.
he's young.
23.
Very young. He made his debut at a very
Well,
young
then,
age.
okay, at that age, yeah, that's pretty much his retirement package, maybe one more year beyond that. But it's such a risk, like that amount of money. Like, and I've been very critical of the Knights because they gave Ponga 1.5 a year, and that's most of their salary cap. If you're putting $2.8 million theoretically into two players, like, what's that? That's a quarter of your salary cap. What's the salary cap? Around $12 million a year at the moment,
Just
I think?
under 12, yeah.
Yeah. So you're putting literally a quarter of your salary cap into two players. Like,
It makes
that
things
that
tough.
doesn't compute for me.
All right, well, let's move on now. Let's go to available players on the market. Who would you sign at the Chooks?
Mate, if it was a halfback or 5'8", I'd choose Jamal Fogarty. He's off contract. I think at the end of this year, I reckon he'd fit in there. He'd fit in Bondi.
Yeah. Great
Great kicking game, like one of the best kickers in the game, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yourself.
I mean, to be honest, the one guy I genuinely, he's off contract at his current club, but he's already signed a new deal. Would have been a Reece Robson. I'm glad we got him. He'd be the guy I would have gone after because he gives me that Jake Friend vibe.
Yeah.
But he's also very creative out of dummy half, and we lost that with Brandon Smith. He didn't have that creativity, whereas Connor Watson does. But also it opens Connor Watson to go back into that ball-playing 13 role. So Reece Robson genuinely would have been my guy because I'm pretty happy with the rest of our squad, to be honest.
Well, for me, you know what? There's not really a lot out there at this current minute with players off contract because if you have a look, all the good players have been tied up for long-term deals. So you have to look at all these things. At the moment, we're stuck because we did lose a fair few players. So it looks like we're just going to have to stick with our youth until something surfaces up.
Actually, just a thought process before you get into yours, Presto. It was someone I thought of the other day. I was watching the League game and our producer, Benny, sort of threw his name out and it made me think of it. Lachlan Lamb. He's been killing it over there. He's gotten a bit older, he's got a bit of experience. Does he maybe come back to the NRL?
He's a local junior.
Well, yeah, Adrian, well-versed. He played for us for so many years. He was a halfback in the 90s, probably one of the best halfbacks to ever play for the Roosters. Definitely, I reckon, in my top three. But would Lockie come back, maybe? We had him when he was young.
Speculated that he's come out and said that he wouldn't mind a return if the club, has shown some interest, but I don't know what's going on over there.
It'd be interesting. What about you, Presto? Who'd you go after?
I'll take a bit of a different approach to this. I was just going to mention, do you think there's a world where we keep Brandon Smith next year and play him maybe like lock on the edge? Maybe.
Nah, I think it's done. Because we've got Victor Radley, we've got Connor Watson, we've got Reece Robson, we've got Nafahu White.
If we didn't sign Robson and Watson went to be our full-time hooker, I think yes. I think signing Robson... Yeah, as Theo said, we've got too many locks. You've got Nafahu White can play, Radley can play, Nat Butcher can play, Siwa Wong can play. We got a lot of guys that can play in that position. I think this year, though, if Brandon Smith does get on the field for us, I think he will be in that role. Or he'll play 14 if Watson needs a break, but he's a beast, so I don't see that needing.
Safe to say it's the cheese is probably farewell tour.
Yeah. I think so. He may still live out there afterwards, but I don't think he'll be playing for us.
He's been linked to Souths, funny enough. So
some rumours circling around.
Yeah, I've heard some rumours.
Well, Bennett did try and get him to the Dolphins, but ended up going with Jeremy Marshall King up there. So maybe Bennett's going to have a second shot at him and see how he goes. Because hooker's a position that they're
South-
worried about
South
this year.
Mid, yeah.
Because I think Mamazello was playing for them
yep.
this year, but I don't know. I couldn't see Berrien Smith
Yeah, I
playing
could
for
see it.
South.
Yeah, I could see it happening.
I don't know how. I mean, if they're the only ones that offer him, because there's talks Super League are offering him, but I don't think he's going to England.
Boys, I want to know your thoughts. One more player off contract I saw today that I think's interesting. Bunty. Would you bring him to the Chooks?
Bunty
Bunty
Afoa.
Afoa.
Bunty
He's off contract. What are your thoughts on Bunty?
My only thought would be, where would we play him?
He's a prop, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a front row, but he does play a
Do
bit
you
of
reckon
back
he'd
row here
suit?
and there.
You reckon he'd suit our forward back?
Look, I'll be honest with you. No disrespect to the bloke, but that's not what we should be looking at. We should be looking at like a 6. That's no disrespect to Sandon. I wish Sandon all the best, and I hope that he kills it this year. But we've got to look at options, and I don't think Bunty Afoa is what we need. We've got Spencer. We've got Nafagi
Lindsay.
White. We've got Nat Butcher that can play there. Who else have we got?
Well, just on Spencer, I want to say something quickly because I've been fed up with seeing it in the media, and quite frankly, I'm bloody over it. All this crap about Spencer wanting to leave. It was really good to see Angus come out in the media today and say he's pulled the playing group together and said, "This is a load of junk. I'm happy here. I want to be here. This is my home." So Pilatus obviously said a few things to Buzz Rothfield over in LA at the Nines. So I'm really glad to see Spencer pull the team together to go, boys, I don't want this on your minds. Like, this is not true. I am staying and I want to be here, which is awesome. So
I never believed it. I was on socials and I kept ranting on about it. I told him it's not true.
to be fair, no, and look, I agree with you.
It's a stupid rumour.
The amount of crap I've seen on other teams' pages going, oh, he's going to West, he's going to Paris, doing
Bulldogs.
this.
Oh
That's
my
a
god.
bit
I think there's always, there's a player just before the season starts every year. He might be
Just
going
the media. The
somewhere.
media.
We lose 2 trials and apparently everyone wants to jump off the
Yearly
ship.
circus.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move into another segment now. We've got Team of the Quarter Century for 25 years. Now, between us 4, we've picked a NRL side and a Roosters side, our best players. So, Luke, you've done your best 13 for an NRL squad, and Theo, you've done your best 13
Yeah,
for an
sure
NRL.
have.
Do you want to go head-to-head, read yours out, and then Luke...
Well, I go one and then you go one and then we'll go from there. So my fullback is obviously probably yours as well, Billy Slater.
Billy the King, yeah.
Billy the King.
How can you not,
The
Jordan?
kid, sorry.
There's a bloke called James Tedesco, but whatever.
Billy, mate, I think changed, the dynamics of that fullback position. But anyway.
Ninja kicks in the air.
Karate kicks. Obviously, our wingers were Brett Morris, me and you. Yeah,
I
Brett
got
Morris.
yeah.
Greg Inglis at centre.
Yeah, Greg Inglis, yeah.
And then this is where it all becomes a change.
Everything
And we all
shifts.
shift. We go different directions here. I've gone with Justin Hodges, who dominated in that position for quite some time, especially he was at the Roosters, but he had a longevity career at the Broncos. Who'd you go with?
I've gone with Joe Manu. I liked watching Justin Hodges. I'm not being biased, but, mate, seeing Manu, win us back-to-back, one of the best centres I've watched over time.
That's fair. And obviously, this is the controversial one, me and you, for number 5. I've gone with the beast, Manu Vatuvai.
Wow.
Now, I think you guys want to know more info on why I went there. Look, I think Manu Vatuvai was an exceptional winger. I think he was very relied on. Had errors in his game, so and so, but you know what? That's the one guy you'd want to give the ball to when he would run over anyone. He is a tank. And one thing about him that I liked, he was always very aggressive and strong. And on top of that, you want to listen to this. So he played for the Warriors in struggling periods, and he actually got 156 tries out of 226 appearances.
What a machine.
That's awesome.
Machine.
That's a great strike.
So we'll go with yours. Who was your winger?
I'll go for Hazemil Masri.
Oh,
Apart from watching the Chooks growing up, it was good seeing the doggies play just to watch Hazem.
yeah.
He was one of the best goal kickers. I think he got, was it 880 something
Yeah,
goals?
something
out of
ridiculous.
1,000?
Very reliable with his goal kicking.
Mate,
He
one of
was
the best.
Very unique the way he kicked goals.
And one of
as
the
well.
most respected
Players, yeah. He was like top point scorer until Cameron Smith
I think
came
Daryl
in.
Halligan must have coached him in terms of
Yeah,
goal
I think
kicking
he
because
did,
Daryl
yeah.
Halligan was the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Halligan done a fair
goal kicking coach. So he learnt and he perfected his goal kicking from him.
And we won't forgive him ever for the 2004 double movement. Try.
It was a double movement.
It was a double movement.
No
If we
doubt
had the
about
bunker,
that.
that's a no try.
So
Okay.
who are your halves looking like?
I went
6 and
with
7?
Cooper Cronk and JT.
Very interesting.
People,
Okay.
yeah.
2 Queenslanders, yeah.
So,
Two Queenslanders.
Surprise.
like I said,
From a
not,
guy-
not
from-
being biased, but Cooper Cronk, mate, I love watching him when he was at Melbourne, and it got better when he was at the Chooks.
Look, I don't think you're biased, even that you're from New South Wales. But anyway.
Here we go.
That's in Queensland.
And
Anyway.
JT, obviously, I reckon one of the best players overall.
I think you'd be hard pressed to have
That's a
many
fair
people.
call.
Yeah. In my opinion, yeah, one of the
I went
best.
for one Queenslander and one New South Welshman, and one of them was Darren Lockyer at 6. Who, mate, you have to speak about Darren Lockyer. Darren Lockyer went from fullback to 5'8". He dominated in both positions. And the other one, the eighth immortal, Andrew Johns. One of the best sevens. You know, I know everyone talks about Nathan Cleary, but we can't really talk about Nathan Cleary because he hasn't finished his career yet. But we'll obviously get to Nathan Cleary when the curtain is raised over his career. But Andrew Johns, for me, the way he played and he debuted, mate, unbelievable for a rookie player.
What was your favourite Joe Johns moment?
Oh, there's so many,
05?
State of Origin?
Origin 05?
You know what? No, I'm going to go back a little bit. It wasn't the NRL era though. It was, I think it was a Super League and NRL.
Yeah,
when he was at
Super
when he was playing against Manly in the grand final.
Oh, 97?
And he come back and he told Darren Albert, goes, come back in and I'll pass you the ball and you'll score. It was just, mate, legendary stuff. And Andrew Johns is one of a kind.
To be fair, my favourite Andrew Johns moment was still always going to be when he told the boys in the 2000 prelim, get your holiday tickets ready.
Bali,
just to bring that up for a second week in a row.
Oh, Joey, not one of your best moments, mate. But anyway, let's go to our props. Who'd you go with, Lukey?
I went with JWH and Big Willie Mason.
Ooh,
Mate,
okay.
imagine seeing them two in the same team.
Big alpha men.
Are we talking
mate.
like Afro Willie Mason as well? Because that
Yeah.
was a different beast.
One of my favourite Willie Mason moments was, even though I go for Queensland, 2004 in Origin. He scored that 70-metre try. Do you guys remember?
Yes.
Yeah, mate, well, that was one of his best moments in his career, I reckon. And at the Bulldogs, he killed it. He went to Newcastle. I think he finished up at Newcastle. Yeah, he killed it over there too.
Bit of time with us as well.
One quarter, I went Jared Ria-Hargraves. And obviously, everyone wants to know why Jared. Well, look, Jared, you have to speak for Jared. Look, seriously, look at what he's done at the Roosters and look how much of a gap it's going to be this year. His leadership, his aggression, he's just one tough SOB. The guy does not take a backward step. I don't care what anyone says. It's not a biased call. He will go up there with the echelons of the Webb Keys, the Petro Severs, the Steve Price. I could go on. But anyway, I just mentioned the name of the next prop that I have, Petro Severs. Just tough and raw and just didn't take a backward step himself. And he was just a leader and, yeah, tough as nails.
Who was your hooker? I'm keen to hear who your hooker
Oh, it's easy. If you said it to someone else, then there's something wrong with you. I'm Cameron Smith.
Yeah, no, same here.
Cameron.
I chose
That
Cameron
one's
Smith.
that one's way too
That one's
easy,
just
I feel
easy,
like.
mate.
No one deserves it over Cameron.
There's Cameron Smith, and then there's Daylight, and then there's the rest of the hookers. It's just
That's
simple.
right.
See you later. You know. Second row. Who'd you go with?
Sam Thorday
Okay.
and SBW.
Okay.
Sonny Bill Williams.
I reckon Sonny Bill, I'd say 2013 mainly.
Do you
Sonny Bill in
think,
2013 and at the Bulldogs. When he came back to us in 2019.
2013. Yeah, 2013. He came back.
No, but 2020
No, but
he came back for the
yeah.
remainder
Oh,
of that
yeah.
year.
I wanna-
yeah, second
I
stint.
want to put him like in that part. But yeah, 2013, that was one
Do
of
you
the
think
best.
Doggies fans can forgive him now after leaving the Dogs and obviously coming over to the
To
Chiefs?
this day, they still go on about it.
Yeah.
I got some mates that love him that are Doggy supporters, but you got most of them, they just boo him, mate.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
I
won't
think
forgive
I
him.
think majority of them have moved on. You're going to hold a grudge that long. I mean, come on. He messed up. He owned up to it. Unfortunately, it happened, and he even said that he wished he could go back in time. He would have changed the way he exited the Bulldogs. Also, I want to ask you about the Sam Friday pick. Why Sam Friday?
Mate.
He's a Queenslander.
He's I was going to say he's a larrikin.
Hey,
but
by the way, born in Auburn, New South Wales.
Really?
Sam Friday.
Yeah.
Not a Queenslander, but hey, he must have grew up there.
Auburn. That's in Queensland.
So
No,
why
just
Sammy?
at the Broncos, mate. Like, he was one of the best in the second row. He was, honestly, with Petro there and all that.
To be
He
honest,
was good.
his humour as well. Like, he was a
Sense
good
of humour.
bloke.
Yeah.
Like, post-game,
You
some
could
of
have
the
a laugh
comments.
with him. Did you see his
that's
retirement announcement? He was at the nursing home. Just quality Sam Friday, as usual.
No, it was good to watch. Always good to watch. Friday night footy, they always
think
get
his
their
afro
Friday
stood
night
out.
games.
He had
And
that,
you hated playing him as well.
he had that battle with Jared Hargraves at Suncorp. Do you remember
That's right,
that?
he did.
Yeah,
That's
they
right.
went at each
That's
other.
when I didn't
They
like him.
locked
I didn't like
horns.
him back then.
But
yeah.
you know what I loved about that game, and it's one of the reasons why I love guys like your JWHs, your Stan Fridays. They went at each other and absolutely brutalised each other. Moment the game was, the first person they shook hands with was with each other. Because it was just like that respect of, bro, we just went and killed each other.
Went to war.
Great job, I think Sammy, I think they beat us that night, but it was but it was just like just seeing them come together and like the cameras on them being like,
It's like at a pub, you had a fight outside the pub, and then you guys get up, guys. Let's go. Let's
mate.
go back to the pub and have a beer.
Just ask Kenny about that.
we
Who's
don't
your
have
13?
trees.
Oh, hang on. I didn't finish my second row.
Oh, who was yours? Sorry.
My second row is Sam Burgess, one of the toughest English players to play behind Adrian Morley.
Thank you.
And obviously Sonny Bill Williams. We've already touched on Sonny Bill, so I'll touch on Sam Burgess. Sam Burgess, for me, I think changed the way English forwards played and came and had a crack in the NRL. And I think you could just see the impact he has made in terms of his aggression. And he just never took a backward step as well. He was just unbelievable. He was just tough as they can. Obviously, very controversial as well in terms of his dirty tactics on the field. But, hey, there's a lot of players that we could name. But Sammy B, mate, unbelievable, very skillful, and, mate, could find the try line.
I think one of the moments that stands out for me, Sammy Burgess, he just tucked the ball under his arm and he ran straight at the Bulldogs. Remember that? Mick Ennis
The
tried to throw
14
it.
grand final.
Oh, that was crazy.
Ran at Ennis, Graham.
It was first minute.
I was
of
going to
the
say
game.
that was when he broke the cheekbone or something, wasn't it?
I'm
James
telling you
Graham.
now.
Oh, his own cheekbone.
Even all South supporters out there, if they are listening, they would even admit it themselves. If he came off with that cheekbone,
they were screwed.
they were gone. Because South would have surrendered. I'm telling you now,
Yeah.
he was their enforcer and he was their leader. They needed him.
It's their JWH.
It's like our Jared. He was their Jared for them.
Well, I was
at
about to
Souths.
say, my number 13 is actually Sam Burgess. And I was going to say the reason why is because that 2014 grand final.
Yeah.
Mate, like, if he came off, like you said, they would have not won it.
And that was a good doggies team. Like,
It was.
they probably would have rolled them if the score would have been reversed. I think it was like 30 to 14 or something. Would have been reversed if Burgess came off after that.
All right, so we're now down to my last player. Everyone's gonna probably, if they knew back in the day a little bit, I think around 2008 he left for the Super League, but he obviously played for Manly, a legend. The great Steve Menzies, the Beaver. Mate, what can I say about Steve, man? Steve was very, very skillful, man. I mean, how many tries he scored? I think he scored over 140 tries for a lock forward.
Well, because he was a good utility. Like, he was primarily a lock, but he played a bit of back row. He played a bit of centre as well for them.
So
Like,
he was a utility.
I think he in that 40-0 grand final over Melbourne, he played centre.
Yeah, and I think he scored the final try.
He
He
scored-
scored 40-0, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that might have been actually his last year.
What a finish.
It
Actually,
was.
yeah, that was 08 grand final. Yeah, that was
And he
his.
went out.
That was his finish. Was he scored the try to?
He's played more games than anyone around rugby league. I'm not just talking NRL. I think he's like played over 500 games in total.
Yeah, him and James Graham are the only two over 500.
Super League, and if you count Origin and you count NRL, it's over 500 games. It's crazy. It's phenomenal how he's lasted this long throughout his career. But Manly fans will even tell you, absolute legend, top bloke as well. I've met him a few times. But yeah, he deserves to be in that All-Stars team. I think he was amazing, Beaver Menzies. Also, with Beaver, man, the leadership he showed, crazy. Just, you know what? No one doesn't rate him as a captain, but I liked him. He was just all about action.
Yeah,
Action.
he expected results.
Yeah, he didn't talk. He was just all about leading by actions. But yeah, that's Beaver. So, yeah.
Beautiful, mate. Well, guys, if you want to drop your NRL best 13 in the comments, we'll have a look at it and then we'll get back to them next week, see which one's the best one, and we'll analyse it, pick it out.
Although, Presto, I think it's time for you and me to go head-to-head, mate.
I think it is, mate. Roosters best 13 of the quarter century. You want to start? Or?
Yeah, I'll start.
This is going to be good, guys.
This is going to be fun. Now, look, there's going to be one decision. I think you and I have the same player. Just for our fans out there, the whole point of this is they played primarily their career in the 2000s onwards. So when there's a certain player that plays number 6 that we don't mention, please don't come and kill us. There's a reason for it. But I'll start off with my fullback. I can't go past Teddy. I mean, it's Teddy. Can you blame me?
Well, mate, I've got Mini, obviously the other Italian stallion. I just think Mini, like Teddy, Teddy had a few injury step-backs at Tigers. And I think Mini with his back, obviously late 2000s, people said he was never going to play again. And I think Mini he changed the way fullbacks played along with Slater.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that stands out for me with Mini is you could put him on the wing as well. So I think in the back end of his career, RTS came in and they put Mini on the wing.
He's understudy.
Teddy doesn't go on the wing much. I think Teddy's sole focus is fullback. So he was versatile, Mini. That's why I've put him obviously at 1, but yeah, he can play wing as well.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Minicello on the wing because I'm not leaving the count out of the game.
Yeah.
So he's my first winger. I got Mini on the wing.
Who's your second?
My second one, this might cause some controversy. I've gone with RTS.
Roger?
So my wingers are Anthony Minicello and RTS.
And where's Tupou in all this?
So
No Tupes?
look, I'm not gonna lie.
This
is where
I
Come
sat there
on.
for a long time sitting there, and I just think I love Toops. Please don't ever think I don't. Roosters fans, I love Toops. I think he's going to go down as a club legend. He'll get life membership when he retires. Like, he's an absolute workhorse of a legend. The talent of Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. And remember, he played 12 to 15. So, yeah, we had that really good year in 13. But then 12, 14, 15, we had some troubles. And he was a shining light. And that's why I've gone RTS, because I think his ability, just the way he went about his work was incredible. And to be honest, I genuinely think part of him probably never wanted to go back to the Warriors, but I think going home for family and all that was good for him. But
took on the fullback role there.
yeah, he took on the fullback role because he knew he wasn't going to have it with us for much longer. So,
Daniel Tupou left out.
And
Well,
look,
Leading try scorer of the
it's-
Roosters of all time.
It's a tough one. And honestly, if I could have a bench, I would have put RTS into like a 14 role because he can cover the back line, he can cover the halves, and I would have put Toops in there.
Fair call.
Well,
but
I've
yeah.
put Toops in. Obviously, I've gone Tupou
Good man.
and Brett Morris. Obviously, Brett and Josh only had a few years with us.
Okay.
But I think that what stood out for me was the 2019 grand final against Canberra. He should have got man of the match, I thought. The way he, in the air as well.
Safe
He was
as bricks.
Safe as bricks, catching every ball. His defense was great. You know, Cronk went in the bin for 10, and there was that moment you're thinking, like, Raiders might have this here.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, the 60 and all that. We can touch on that another day. But I think defensively, we just held on for dear life.
Yeah.
And Brett Morris was one of the reasons why we won that grand final.
For sure.
And obviously, you know, he played some time with the Doggies and Dragons. Did he play Cronulla?
No, that was Josh. that
Josh
played
Jordan.
with
Yeah,
us.
that's right. Brett.
So he went Canterbury. Oh no, St George, then Canterbury, then us. Josh went St George, Cronulla, Canterbury.
Yeah,
then
then
us.
us.
And I think,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
Brett,
yeah,
even in his
Cronulla.
early years, I think his dad as well
Slippery Steve.
played
Yeah.
for the Chooks. And yeah, Brett, even at the Dragons, he was so good in the air. I think
Yeah.
there's one of those tries I watched it a few weeks ago, best tries and all that. And I think it won. He obviously, sorry. He stepped out, caught it in the air, and just put the ball down.
Yeah.
Do you
Against
remember that one?
Cronulla.
Against
Shark
Cronulla,
Park.
yeah.
At Shark Park.
Yes.
So I just want to make a point there for anyone who comes after me for not having Brett Morris. I've actually got him in my NRL team of the quarter century, so that's how highly I think of him.
Cool. All right. Well, what's your centers?
So my centres, one name will be very familiar. It's already been mentioned, Joey Manu. I think it's very hard to go past Manu. I think he's one of the best centres to play the game. One that some of our younger fans won't know, aka probably Presto, yourself and Luke, because you're babies.
I was a baby back then.
I know.
Ryan Cross. Now, for those that don't know, Ryan Cross played for us from 98 to 06. He's a dual international, played a bit of, obviously went and played Union as well. He was Orbo before Orbo was Orbo. He was the original Orbo. That man could play so many different positions. He was a 1%er. Mate, that guy was taking hit-ups like from as a back before the backs were required to take hit-ups. He was strong, he was powerful, he was reliable, and Ryan Cross will still always be one of my favourite Roosters players for that reason. But you're a bit younger, so I'm curious to see where you went, Presto.
Well, I think my childhood and teens was I'm going to put in Latrell. I think Latrell Mitchell, starting at the Chooks, obviously he's at Souths now, but the time he had with us was
Incredible.
incredible. Everyone loved Latrell, and when the commentators said his name, it was always, Kiri or Cronk, they'd pass the ball to him, and he would produce magic every single time. he would inject himself into the game. And
Do you remember there was a quiet game he had, but he just took off, and it was against the Broncos. He palmed the hell out of James
Jimmy,
Roberts.
yeah, in the finals.
Jimmy the Jet.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that was in the finals. He just made Jimmy the Jet look like nothing.
I was there. I'm sure you guys were, and mate, everyone lit up. He knows to light up a crowd.
And another one as well, down at Amy Park, Latrell Mitchell, close game. Like, we had really close games against Melbourne during that era of our dominance.
How iconic was that?
I know the moment you're talking about, yeah.
Obviously, I think it went into Golden Point, and they were going to go to Cronk, and they went out the back door to Latrell, and he sunk one from about 40, 45 out.
Yeah.
And he just shushed the crowd. It was one of those moments, he just really, gave it to the crowd in Melbourne.
That was actually, I reckon, Cooper Cronk's idea. He goes, you know what? When they were in the huddle and it was extra time, he goes, guys, I'm not taking the field goal. It's going to go to Latrell. You know what? As a Roosters fan, I was shocked. I go, no, not Latrell. I was like, no.
Everyone did that,
Yeah, because you're sitting there, you want your best kicker to take that. So everyone's going, Cooper Cronk's going to nail this from about 35 out. Next minute, friend passes the ball out to Latrell, and everyone's going, what the... And then I remember I was sitting there and I was watching it at home because I didn't travel down to Melbourne, and I was going, are you kidding me? And then I saw it slide and went, I'll shut up now. That was brilliant.
And I think every single Melbourne Storm player thought Cronk was getting that ball.
I think but they set it up. The deception was there so well because everyone thought it was going.
He was the decoy.
The commentators, I think, were like, ball to Cronk. Hang on, that's to Latrell.
But you know what? It's the way he hit it, and he knew it was going in. And I just saw it, and I'm like, wow, it just went in.
I cannot believe it. Look at it.
Yeah. It was just, he turned around, looked and went, yep, that's it. And then that was it. He was off the race. Like, boys, I just won us the game. Well, my 6 and 7, I think you and I will probably be about the same. I kind of gave it away earlier when I said I wasn't going to put Freddie in my 6 because he played, 90s mostly. But this man won a Clive Churchill and, was our only half in a grand final against Melbourne. So I've gone 6, Luke Keary. Played for us for quite a long time, just went over to Catalans. And 7, he only played 2 seasons for us. I was a big fan of Mitch Pearce, but nothing will equate to what Cooper Cronk done for our club. He was just
of 2 years, by the way.
Yeah, 2 years, 2 premierships. And also just to add, Cronk won 3 premierships in a row because he won the year before with Melbourne.
So he did a three-peat.
He done the three-peat, but he'd also played in 4 grand finals in a row, which, I mean, apart from Penrith at the moment, that was incredible. So I went Keary and Cronk. And what were yours? Were you the same or?
Yes, I've gone Cronk as well, but for 6, I've gone Jimmy Maloney.
Ooh,
the larrikin.
Yeah, Mr. Barbecue and alone. I think I've gone Jimmy. I just like the way he played. Obviously no one's ever going to talk about him much, but I think he was just such a calm and collected guy. He had a great kicking game.
Important in 13.
Yeah, and he won a comp with Chooks and Cronulla. So I think, and he could have won one with Warriors a few years before, and then he came to Bondi and then won his first comp. So
one thing about Jimmy, he had that fine balance where you can have a laugh with him, but when it's game day, he switches on and he's in game mode. And that's what I loved about Jimmy Maloney, because we do have a lot of larrikins, but him, just very controlled and very measured.
Flick that switch.
And I think he was a very vital part in the 2013 grand final. Just a cool, collected head. Similar to Cronk.
The kick to Tubes.
Yeah. When Tubes went 35,000.
Can I raise a point? Can I raise a point? It left a sour taste in our mouth. I don't know how he did not win the Clive Churchill medal in that 13 grand final.
Yeah, don't even start.
I remember sitting in the chook, Ben, and we just went off, mate. It was like we lost the game.
Yeah.
When they announced DCE, everyone's like, what?
It's funny you say that. It's happened twice to our club. I don't think it's happened to many other clubs in a grand final.
But
2019, Jack Whiting got it, and JWH thought he had it.
Well, JWH was told he had it. He was literally told they were waiting on, and I'm going to sound biased here, they're waiting on bloody Laurie Daly, a Canberra Raiders legend, to send his votes in.
I don't even know.
I'm sorry. The only thing I take out of that is our team was so good in both those years, they couldn't pick one player. Because really, 13, you could have given it to Jennings, Toops, Maloney. 19, you could have given it to Jared, Brett Morris, Jake Friend. Jake Friend had been injured, came back on. He was part of that reason why we survived that whole time with Cronk in the bin. I think that's the only thing I can think of is we were that good a team in those years, they couldn't pick one player.
Who was your 8?
Mate. I don't think
it's a rhetorical question.
It's a rhetorical question. JWH was my 8, and to be honest,
he's
my captain of the team. I would give him the captain in that team. And my other front rower to pair him, one of the greatest front rowers ever to play the game from England, Adrian Morley. Adrian Morley was prime me growing up. Him and Jared, we had a couple of years without that big enforcer because Morley finished with us in 06. We didn't get Jared till 10, but yeah, it was like Jared just took over from Morley. What about yourself? Where's your 8 and 10 sitting, mate?
I've gone JWH. Just thought warrior, leader, enforcer. He was. Do we need to say no more?
Yeah.
And honestly, about Jared. 10, I've gone Sam Moa.
Ooh, okay.
Sam Moa.
That is a big pick. I like it.
And there's something about him. Childhood favourite. I think he was at the club from 2013 to 2016, so he was there for 4 years. And I think in 2013, it was the thing what stood out for me, he would always love a good short ball. I was watching a few highlights the other day, and Friendy would scoop out a dummy half, give Sam Moa one, and then just bang. And I think straight through.
So underrated.
Yeah, he was underrated. No one really talked about him. Played for New Zealand.
Yeah, he's international.
Yeah, I just think every time he had that ball, it was like he was like a mini Jared. He was just ready to run through a brick wall for the team.
It's like a cannonball.
Well, I think as well because a lot of people focused on Jared around that time because that was when Jared was really making impact. That Moa probably went under the thought process of, it's all right, we can let him do a bit more. And he took advantage of that, and that's where he got a lot of his meterage and things like that out of there.
So who'd you go for 9?
Look, there was only one choice for me, Jake Friend. The little nugget, Jake Friend.
Warrior.
Look, to be honest, I think warrior is sometimes an understatement for him. He was just... Look, put it this way, if Cameron Smith didn't play in the NRL, Jake Friend would have been the number 1 hooker.
Ooh, that's a big call.
You know why I'm calling that? Near the end of Cameron Smith's career, Jake Friend got a call up to the Queensland Maroons to play Origin. I think it was 2020, when we played it at the end of the year. And there was a couple of comments that came out of that Queensland squad, and even Smith himself, were talking about how much respect they had for Friend. And a few of them said, if it wasn't for the bloke named Cameron Smith, Friend would have been our hooker all these years. So, where have you gone, Presto?
Yeah, I've gone Friendy as well, mate. I think obviously he had a few slip-ups early on in his career, but then he just became just one of the greatest hookers.
Got his second chance.
Got his second chance. Obviously, Uncle Nick gave him that second chance, and then obviously earned his Maroons debut in the back end of his career. But I'll run through the rest of my squad quickly. So I've obviously gone Boyd Cordner, Adrian Morley, and Victor Radley.
Ooh, okay. So Adrian Morley in the back row?
Yeah, in the back row. I think Morley, for me, when I've just started getting into league, he left the Chooks, but my old man would show me highlights of Morley, and he was just a big enforcer, big hits, big shots, and back then, the shoulder charge.
I think Mozza played second row under the great Graham Murray.
He did. So he actually started his career as a back rower, but for England, he was primarily a prop. For us, he sort of played between the two.
He'd bounce around. And I've chucked in a Roosters junior. You got to have to for the 13. Victor Radley. Yeah, I think when he came on the scene, like Victor, I think the one highlight stood out. He absolutely ironed out Dylan Walker, Roosters man.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So, who'd you go for?
So, I backed Boyd as well. Boydo's my 11. Based on his form last year and just, the way he's been, apart from one off year, I did put Angus at 12.
Gussie?
Gussie, because to be honest, I reckon Gussie's going to go down as one of the best second rows to play the game, especially if he continues that form from last year. Now, my 13, I actually was about to pick Victor. And then I was looking through the team and I was like, I'm missing this person who needs to be there. Craig Fitzgibbon. Fitzy.
Oh, Fitzy.
Current Cronulla coach. Now, a lot of people know him as playing back row, but he actually did play about 60 games a lock for us. When, someone by the name of Luke Richardson was a bit sore, or when he retired, Fitzy went into that lock role. His goal kicking was invaluable, and just the way he ran line. So, I went Boydo and Angus in my back row with Craig locking the scrum, Fitzy locking the scrum up.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, well, that wraps up our 13. And if you guys want to leave your best Roosters 13, drop it in the comments, and we'll get back to it next week. All right, let's touch on game day. Obviously, round 1, 2 games are done. We've got 6 to go. Geordie, mate, West Tigers versus Knights at Campbelltown.
I actually reckon this is probably one of the most hyped games. I'm thinking West will win it. Now, it's at Campbelltown, 6 p.m. Friday night. Luai, May, Hunt, Taruva all making their club debuts. If it doesn't sell out, I reckon it's going to be pretty damn close. I know West Leagues are expecting a big night next door, so I would say, I think that West team, they're going to want to put on a big performance to start the year and show people that they're serious.
I'll be heading with the old man, so it'll be good to see my old man go and watch his Tigers.
And that's the other thing. There's a lot of fans from other teams that want to see this West team perform, so they're going to be out there.
You go on 13 plus or 1 to 12?
Look, I think it's going to be 1 to 12 because I think the Knights are a quality side, and I think they've shown that when they played 100%. I just think this West team will want to prove a point early in the season, so I think they're going to just get in there 1 to 12. Like, honestly, I reckon 1 to 6 is even more realistic.
Cool. Theo, Finns versus Souths.
Souths,
the Bennett Bowl.
The Bennett Bowl, or the Bennett Shield, or the Bennett
Cup.
Bennett, whatever they want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it. So, that's a very interesting matchup, these two. Obviously, what do I say? So, Rabbits, they've got a lot out at the moment, Latrell Mitchell expected to be out for up to 8 weeks.
8 weeks. And Murray 5 months, but
5 months.
Probably most of the season.
It's a shit go for the Rabbits, unfortunately. And then the Dolphins have got, what's his name? Hammer, Asako, Herbie Farnworth. They've got Katoa, who is obviously progressing. as
Sean O'Sullivan as well.
Sean O'Sullivan. Like, they've got a
Up at
decent
Suncorp
team.
as well.
Yeah.
It's up at Suncorp. Look,
1 to 12, 13 plus?
I'm going to go. I just think the Rabbitohs are a bit woeful. Without Latrell Mitchell or Cam Murray, it's going to be a tough ask for them to beat the Dolphins. So I'm tipping the Dolphins. Unfortunately, sorry, you South supporters out there, yous are going to get smashed. 13 plus.
Can't wait.
Tell us how you really feel.
My Friday night sorted then.
Honestly.
Luke, mate, so Dogs versus Saints, and you're going to the game?
Yeah, I'm going. So going with a couple of my mates, sitting in the kennel with them. So,
Yeah.
Who are you sitting with in the kennel?
Emilio, Touchline Boys.
That's a Cogger, isn't it?
Cogra.
Yeah, sweet.
So we were there 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I'll be on the hill.
Who's
I reckon
going to
it'll be
win?
a sellout. I reckon the Doggies. Obviously, Gutho's. They got a new team, the Dragons. Gutho, Damien Cook, and Valentine Holmes, which I'm keen to see in the red and white.
So Ilias and Flanagan as well.
Yeah,
You
they got a
changed
lot.
your tune. You told me earlier before we hit cameras that you were going for the Dragons.
No, don't give me that, mate. I was sitting in the kennel.
Don't try and get him bashed, Theo. Come on,
But
man.
I reckon, like with Stephen Crichton, unfortunately, Karazi's out. He's injured still. But Connor Tracy, I reckon he'll have a big game. I reckon he'll be man of the match in that game. I reckon it's going to be a close game. I reckon Dogs 18 to 12.
All right, nice.
Yeah, so low scoring game.
Okay.
We'll bounce back to you, Geordie. Manly Cowboys at Brookie.
Yeah, I'm going to be hated by the entire Northern Beaches when I say this. So apologies because I do a lot of work up there, so I'm going to be shot if any of my customers see this. But I got the Cowboys getting up there. Now, come after me. Oh, Travojevic, Cherry Evans, this.
On a Saturday night, packed out at Brookie. Cowboys.
Mate, Reece Robson,
Very hostile.
in his last year for the Cowboys, is going to want to start off well. Scotty Drinkwater, top 5 fullback in the game, and you've got Tommy Dearden. It'll be interesting to see who partners Dearden. I think it's going to be that Tom Duffy, the young guy. He had a really good game against the Storm in that final preseason game.
trial, yep.
So I just think the Cowboys this year are going to be such a good squad that they're going to come out strong. It's whether they can maintain it all year. So yeah, I've got them winning a close one. So it'll definitely be 1 to 12, but I'm thinking like a 20 to 12 sort of situation here. I think the Cowboys are really good. But the big question, we've talked about one of the games of the round in terms of Dragons Doggies. Presto. Melbourne and Para, 4 p.m. at Amy. Where are you thinking, brother?
Surely.
Well, what am I actually? You want to know my thoughts?
Okay. I'm going to preface your thoughts with this because the look you're giving me, I have a feeling I know which way you're going.
Mate,
Craig Bellamy has never lost an opening round game.
and that's gonna change this Sunday.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Against Parramatta.
Melbourne fans, look away.
Well, yeah. Look, I'll tell you right now, my Parramatta's are gonna like this, but I think Parramatta, they're paying about $3.30 right now on Sportsbet. I think Parramatta are gonna do the upset, and they're gonna break Bellamy's streak. Wow. His apprentice under him, Jason Riles, he's gonna get a win. He's gonna go down there, and I think he said in the off season something about I think it was a Parramatta Eels fan day. My mate went up to Riles and said, "Oh, Melbourne round 1's going to be tough." And Riles said, "No, records are meant to be broken." So I think I'm going to go Para. I'm going to go Paraguay 1, a Mitchell Moses field goal. Yep, it's probably going to be a good crowd there as well. I don't think there's going to be AFL down there that
there's
weekend.
no AFL yet.
So they're going to get a good crowd,
Can
Melbourne.
you imagine Mitch Moses hits a field goal? The backlash that will cop in the headlines. And you know what? A lot of people start to respect Mitch Moses.
Yeah, I mean, he's got respect in his name, but that won't be further.
In Origin, yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you for a bit of Nostradamus here, a bit of foreshadowing. If Bellamy's streak of round 1 wins gets broken, does this mean that's the last year we see Bellamy in charge of an NRL team?
Yeah,
In terms of as head coach, like, there's a lot of talk about his future.
He wants to
You
keep
know what I
it
mean?
intact.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
I
if
think-
he
I think-
loses, does he go, all right, I think this year I'm done.
I reckon one more year.
I think he wants to go out and win a comp. That's
Yeah,
going to be their goal. But
Fair enough.
all right, we'll go to our game now, the Chookies game against Broncos, 8 p.m. this Thursday night at Allianz. Guys, what are we thinking? It's going to be a tough ask, but trials are trials.
We're definitely keen to see the team list Tuesday, what Robbo's got installed for us and what he's going to pick. But obviously, as I pointed out last week, Spencer Liu will not be available due to his suspension. He's serving a 2-match ban, so that's going to be a challenge, Jordan?
It is. Firstly, Bay 35, the Chook Pen, I'm excited to be back. It feels like home. Allianz is home. The Chook Pen is home.
You've got the drum packed, mate.
Mate, it's been homeless for 5 months.
Mate, that drum needs to come back. I've already gone and bought the butter menthols.
This is our Easter, our Christmas. So, you know what that saying is,
Who needs Christmas Day when you have opening
Roosters
day?
are our religion and Allianz Stadium's our church. So,
Mate, he loves that drum so much. He's even got the thing painted again. Another repaint on the
Oh,
Yeah,
you were
mate.
talking about that.
Yeah, I
so
got it done.
It's ready.
So I'm picking up tomorrow, I think.
spick and span,
So in
mate.
time for Thursday.
Yeah, doggy.
drum. So we'll go to our stats man now.
Look,
Give us these unique stacks you have found.
I'm glad you asked that because I am that guy. Now, keep in mind, I'm only going off the NRL era, stuff the Super League wars and all that. Funnily enough, there's been 49 games played between the Roosters and Broncos since in the NRL era. The Roosters have won 25, the Broncos have won 24. But 2 key things I want you guys to take out and look forward to this week. The last 2 games against the Broncos last year, obviously we beat them round 1 in Vegas 20-10. We then beat them 40-18 up at Suncorp. We have never won more than 3 games in a row against the Broncos since 98.
Wow.
So we win Thursday?
You tipping the Roosters?
I'm tipping the Roosters. Now, look, a lot's been made about, the Broncos are this really good team and this, that, and the other. But you know what? People have been saying that for the last few years. People said it last year. I'm going to go with the random stats guys' belief. Whoever wins the preseason challenge finishes 12th. So I'm hoping that happens to the Broncos. But I just think that team we've seen out of the trials isn't the team that we're going to see on paper. And I'm going to debunk another myth here, boys. Everyone talks about us being slow starters. Do you want to guess? Now, 27 round 1 games since the NRL era started. Does anyone want to guess how many wins we've actually had out of those 27?
16?
16.
Spot
Bang on, Luke.
So, if you want to get technical, it's like 59.2, blah, blah, blah. AKA 60% I'm going with is our win percentage in round 1. But I also wanted to highlight some things, right? Our biggest wins in round 1, because personally, I always want to beat a team 13 plus. I don't want to be sitting there going, oh crap, can they beat us? Can they beat us? I'm going to talk about 2 wins that we had. We beat South Sydney in 2002, 40-6. And in 2021, we beat Manly 46-4. Right? I just think when we start round 1 well, we can have a reasonably good year. We've had some crappy round 1s. 2009, which was just, as we spoke about last week, was a crap year. We lost to South Sydney 52-12 round 1.
Please don't remind us.
And 2016, the other bad year we spoke about last year, we lost 42-10.
So what are you going to go with? You going 13 plus chooks? It's the way you're leading right now.
My heart says 13 plus. My head says 1-12.
All right. Theo, what are you going with?
It'll be a very tough game for the Roosters. I've got a lot of love for the players. Whoever goes out there and does the job. It's very tough for me, man. Like, it really hurts. It really does. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of players that are gone, and I'm hoping that the Roosters show a bit of ticker, and I hope that I am wrong. I am wrong that the Roosters come out and absolutely prove us wrong and they cause an upset. But basically because of Spencer not playing, No Jared anymore. No Kiri. I could go on the list on and on and on. I'm going to tip the Broncos on a 1-12, unfortunately. I hate myself for this. I hope I get egg in my face, Roosters. So please use this as motivation, Roosters, to go out there and beat those Broncos.
Thursday night when we win, Bay 35, come and remind him of this, please.
And come say g'day to us. We'll be in Bay 35 if you want to say hello. And Luke, what are you going to go? You going to 12, 13 plus chooks, or are you landing
People are
Bronx?
going to hate Theo. I think I'm going to cop it more. I hate to say it. I think Broncos will get up 13 plus. Hate to say it, boys.
So hang on. So we got two that have got. Hang on, before we go any further, boys. Presto, I've got to ask. Where you going? Don't tell me am I the only one? Am I the only one?
I hope we're wrong, but I'm going Broncos by 1. Ben Hunt field goal.
So you're in my lane.
I think they're just going to be too strong. So
I think it's where the halves. That's where the problem is.
Guys, look. Come see us. If we win, just remind these three that they went against our beautiful club, and I'll be sitting there and I'll be smiling and smirking.
I want to be proven wrong, guys. I want to be proven wrong. But I hate myself, but I hate even Luke more because he's picking 13 plus.
Yeah, come on, man. Show us some love.
Spencer, man.
Yeah,
That's it's
going to be a big loss.
It's a big loss.
It'll be interesting to see the team list when it comes out, and we can see who's going to be taking that step on for him. Whether it's a Nat Butcher, a De La Silva sort of thing, or
I'd love to see
De La Silva, man. I'd love to.
I think if plays, he'll play off the bench.
Yeah.
Just because that impact of like a Paddy Carrigan and all that, Payne Haas, but
He's a weapon. For a young kid, he's a weapon.
there's talks Payne Haas might not play.
Where have you heard that, mate?
He's hurt. He's. I got my ways.
A few
back.
whispers.
All right, Mr. Scoop.
There's been a few whispers about his ankle's not 100%. So he may look. He probably will play. He'll probably get needed.
But he's not 100%.
But he's not 100%. Which, to be honest, I don't like playing Payne Haas when he's at 100%.
They don't have Katoni Staggs either, who's out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Ezra Mam's
Staggs
out, isn't he?
Ezra Mam suspended until round 10, I think it is. So
We'll see what
We
happens,
could all
eh?
be proven wrong.
All right, well,
I
Luke,
hope
I'll
so.
quickly throw it to you. So next week you got your mate Ryan Flexi coming on.
Yeah, so he's just actually right now he's coming back from Vegas. He was there for the round 1 clash. So excited to have him on. One of the most passionate Penrith supporters I know.
Good.
we met him at the grand final last year, didn't we?
Yeah. So leading up to the game next week against Penrith, it will be good to have him
I
on.
met him at the charity match. Sounds like a very nice bloke. So he loves his footy, and it'll be good to interact with different fans.
Touch on Penrith, touch on Vegas, and third, you want to touch on...
Yes, let's give another thank you to our sponsor, Steel Roofing Supply Centre. So if anyone needs any roofing materials, please go to their website, steelroofing.com.au. And obviously a shout out to Benny for organising us and getting
great
us
producer.
ready. And he's just been bang on, man. I couldn't ask for a better producer. 10 out of 10, mate. We love ya.
Best in the
All the way from
business.
Newey.
Honestly, best in the business. We won't hold it against him. He lives in Newey, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, thank you very much for tuning into episode 3. Like, follow, subscribe. And if you want to join our ESPN tipping comp, head to our link tree on our Instagram bio. You'll find that there. So from all of us at RMTV, it's goodbye.
See you later,
on
guys.
Thursday.
See you
Go the
Thursday.
Roosters.
Up the Chookies!